So let's just be honest. Nobody likes getting bad news, especially when this bad news is that you're going to lose your job and you're going to get fired. But this bad news is being delivered on a daily basis. And for some, so fortunate enough and lucky, consider themselves to be lucky to get a warning. Well, this most recent wave of mass layoffs, terminations is an excellent learning opportunity, a lesson for what's to come. Key here being, if you have this knowledge, if you have this information, what are you going to do with it? As I've noticed that typically the answer is nothing. And instead, just wait and then complain about it. Bitch and moan and cry and hope people feel sorry for you. But they don't. They never will. Because it's about business. It's about making money. And if you're not making money, then ultimately you're losing money or you're costing a company money, and they don't want that. There's no possible way that without any form of need for disciplinary action that a company would ever fire or terminate or lay off an asset. Profitable employees and staff and workers. So yeah, Best Buy just laid off a bunch of Geek Squad workers. Best Buy laid off numerous employees in its field tech support division, and the CEO, Corey Berry, hinted at the cuts in February, citing inflationary pressure and other investments. It's funny because, I can't say that I specifically said that this was going to happen, but we've talked about it. And unfortunately, these videos don't go very far. And even more so for those that the videos do reach, are you really receiving the message? Are you really understanding and listening to what's being said? Or are you too consumed with your own emotion but it's not your fault. I honestly don't think it is. I think that it's YouTube's fault. I think it's social media's fault, because at the end of the day, it's not about learning or education or becoming smarter or more intelligent, better prepared. It's about distraction, misdirection, and most importantly, advertising, converting on sales, making money. Speaking of which, if you're interested, there are links in the description down below. Whether or not you have lost your job or plan on losing your job or quitting your job or just want to make more money, then yeah, let's talk. But it says here that the Best Buy's Geek Squad is scaling down. The in-home tech support division got hit with layoffs last week as the company looks to cut costs, as we all should be doing. I've mentioned this before. I will sound like a broken record, but at the end of the day, why we aren't treating our own personal finances as those would be treated of a Fortune 500, maybe still Fortune 500 company like Best Buy, makes no sense to me. Scaling down, scaling back, reducing, making cuts. The in-home tech support division got hit with layoffs last week as the company looks to cut costs. Yeah, cut costs, folks. 5 basic principles. Make more money, earn more money, increase your earning, boost your pay, okay? Then spend less than you make, eliminate debt and budget wisely, save and invest. It's essentially what's happening. It says that several former Geek Squad workers told 404 Media they were terminated following a work from home event on Wednesday regarding a company change. Now, I've again mentioned this before, and if you weren't reading the writing on the wall provided to you in February, then when you all of a sudden get a request to not show up to the office and work from home, well, that's going to be your last day. It says, and I quote, "I spent more than half my life with this company and sacrificed a lot of personal time and experiences just to be let go," is what one laid off worker told 404 Media. And as I've said before, these companies, they don't care about you no matter what. I mean, sure, maybe your direct supervisor or manager may show interest in you personally, but at the end of the day, the company is not a person. The company is a disregarded entity most situations that is solely there as a vehicle for tax purposes and first and foremost to produce profit, make money. It's not about you. It's not about the people. It is, in fact, profit over people. And if the places you work for don't turn a profit, then they will fire all the people, unless you work for the government. That's a different story. Oh, yeah. And then sacrificing your own personal life for a company that you don't own. Yeah, anyway. Another former employee told the outlet, "Our leadership gave individual calls stating we were being let go for the simple fact that the company couldn't afford to pay us, more or less. It was extremely short notice and devastating." And look, guys, you're not going to get advance notice. You're not. Because if the company, whether they're being 100% honest and forthcoming with you or not, is telling you that they can't afford to keep paying you, then they know that any notice would just produce quiet quitting behavior that would be anything but quiet, as they know exactly what's going on and why everyone there has really no incentive to do their job anymore. At the very best, you can hope for some form of severance package. But advance warning, they're going to rip that Band-Aid off whether you like it or not. And it says that dozens of others posted photos of their Best Buy employee agent badges to multiple groups on Reddit saying they were going sleeper, meaning they had been laid off. Other commenters who said they had previously worked as Geek Squad agents were quick to point out that demand for their combination of technical and interpersonal skills remain strong. And it's actually weird because a lot of products that we buy today, they're cheap junk, okay, for the most part, and typically are more so designed to fail and then be replaced with some insurance program. This insurance program doesn't involve rebuilding or repairing. It really is more of a recycling effort, and then they'll just give you a store credit or a replacement product if it still exists. Geek Squad is in essence a dying resource for the simple fact that most technology is disposable, and if there's going to be an actual repair that needs to be made, it'll probably be by the manufacturer or a third party to then be sold as a refurbished unit. And this also encourages more sales and transactions for products to be sold rather than to be fixed. Oh, and by the way, everybody's broke for the most part, and nobody's going to buy this expensive technology that would possibly be needed to be repaired anyway. It says that in a statement to Business Insider, Best Buy said, and I quote, "We know better than anyone that the consumer electronics industry is always changing with new technology, more innovation, and evolving customer expectations, and that means we need to make changes too." Again, why we aren't preparing ourselves personally the same way that businesses would and are doing blows my mind. CEO Corey Berry hinted at the cuts in Best Buy's earnings call in February, citing inflationary pressure and investments in other aspects of the business. What have you been doing since February? More so, as I've mentioned before in previous videos, are you even asking the question to your supervisor, to your manager, to the accounting department, to the president, the CEO, the owner? Are you working for a publicly traded company? Are you reading the news? Are you reading the financial statements? Are you listening in on the annual earnings calls? Because they're telling you exactly what has happened, what's happening, and what will happen next. And to say you didn't know won't replace the income that you no longer receive. Quote, "Our fiscal 2025 initiatives are focused on driving further efficiencies across forward and reverse supply chain, our Geek Squad repair operations, and our customer care experience. Retailers have grappled with a pullback in consumer spending on electronics following the pandemic era boom with Best Buy in particular reporting several years of sluggish sales. Barry also said on the February call that tech brands weren't making her company's job any easier. Quote, right now, there isn't any massive current innovation that would spur you to go buy a new laptop. And I can guarantee there's not a huge line of people waiting outside, camping out to buy a set of $4,000 Apple Vision Pros either. A company spokesperson told Business Insider that this round of cuts was primarily in areas serving installation and support of products like home theater equipment, which, yeah, guys, it really should come as no surprise. Home theater installation, you can buy a soundbar, it's wireless. Get you a Sonos. Hell, get you a damn Alexa. You don't need installation. You really don't. And those who would and do are few and far between. It's not an in-demand business, or at least aspect of a business. The company also recently stopped including free installation in its paid membership benefits. So, yeah, they're cutting off their nose to spite their face. And as an employee, no matter your tenure, no matter how many personal life events you sacrifice for this job, you should really be paying very, very close and better attention to what's happening now. Especially now, because it's getting tough, it's getting rough, it's getting cutthroat, and they're paying very, very close attention to every dollar and every penny. Meanwhile, Geek Squad's in-store support teams would not be significantly affected, and home health services teams are expected to expand, as Barry indicated in February. So there is a plus side, there is a silver lining. But at the end of the day, I would be making sure that I'm preparing myself for the possible inevitable future that could result through no wrongdoing of my own, and the fact that my job could be eliminated. I could be fired. The company could go out of business. There could be rounds of layoffs and bankruptcy. So am I cutting my costs? Am I budgeting better? Am I diversifying my income? Am I increasing my skill set? Am I networking and connecting with future and better opportunities? Do I have a backup plan? Do I have a safety net? What am I doing now that I know what is likely to happen? And how can I prepare myself for something that I may need? Which, as always, is better to have and not need than need and not have.
I can tell you my problems, meditating my silence. But I keep pushing my pen, rotating my stylus. Brokenness feeling like sin, now no breath, low dollar. Used to be left on red, now all the girls go holler. Now all the girls go follow. All the fake friends gon' pop.